Residents of Garu exchanged gunshots with national security operatives over two persons believed to be suspects in recent attacks in Boko. We'll bring you details of the survival story of 73-year-old physically challenged Kwame Alex amidst the flooding at Bupe in the central Gonja district of the Savannah region. And on the international front, Nigeria's Supreme Court to rule Thursday on whether to uphold President Bola Tinubu's election victory or otherwise. Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. Well, in our first story, a health crisis is imminent at Germany in the South Dai district of the Volta region as residents are grappling with diseases caused by contaminated water. Here's a report.
It's daybreak, and as usual, residents here in the Germany community are getting prepared to start their day. Only this time, things are a bit different. Since the flood caused by the overflow of the Volta River began, major portions of the community have been submerged and brought multiple aspects of life to a standstill. Also affected is the community's main water source, so now they rely on the river. We don't have safe water. This is what we use for everything. Esther Bediatu, a mother of one, is making a trip to and from the riverside to fill barrels at home with water. With it, she cooks, bathes and drinks. But a few weeks of constant use of this water is taking a toll on her and her daughter. We are getting sick with rashes. My child has rashes all over her body. The struggles being faced by residents using the water raise concerns about what really is causing the spread of diseases. We took a ride on the river and made a shocking discovery.
So we just got to the bank of the water, and this is one of the homes here in the Germany community. And you can see the stagnant water. It's dirty and there are mosquitoes breeding on this particular water, which means that the people here are at a risk of getting malaria. But right here, nearby this stagnant water, you can see that some of the residents are fetching water. This water is used to cook, bathe, wash, and do everything basically that they need water for. This is right by the stagnant water that we just saw. But more interestingly is the fact that just nearby is a public toilet that serves the entire community. It has been submerged fully in water. This basically means that the water here is contaminated and residents are at a high risk of catching diseases.
It gives us sicknesses because that's what we used to cook. With both public toilets submerged, it was then necessary to find out exactly where residents go to ease themselves.
As it happens like this, people normally defecate in the rubbers and throw it away in the water.
The current situation poses serious danger to the community as residents are now at high risk of catching diseases like cholera and typhoid. Disease control officer in the community says their healthcare centers are seeing a sharp rise in patients.
The complaint that they're having is the diarrhea, the typhoid, and then the skin rashes. And in fact, the skin rashes is now increasing because of how the water, the temperature of the water has been changed. It makes people having those rashes.
Assemblyman of the area, Thomas Abuwada, is calling for urgent help.
We are pleading if Ghana Water will take over the whole community, we will be glad of it.
Until help is provided, residents remain at high risk of catching diseases. Judith Brown, TV3 News, Germany, Volta region.
Well, still on the flooding in Bupe adds that the central Gonja district of the Savannah region has significantly impacted the industrial town's activities. Among those bearing the brunt of the devastation are persons living with disabilities. Now, our Savannah regional correspondent Christopher Amwako tells the survival story of 73-year-old physically challenged person Kwame Alex.
Businesses and other human activities were brought to a halt. An escalation in typhoid and malaria cases have also been reported, with health officials describing it as alarming.
The cases keep on coming. There is quite a rising number of cases that we have been seeing. In fact, lately we have had cases that have had typhoid ileal perforations, which we've been able to do surgical operations, interventions for them.
Properties worth millions of cedis have been lost. Both the young and the aged are struggling to survive in the midst of the floods. Persons living with disability are not spared either. 73-year-old Kwame Alex is physically challenged, and his home was inundated by the rising water. His family members have all moved to a safe haven provided by the Central Gonja District Assembly. But due to his condition, he could not immediately move with them. He is simply frustrated.
It's coming all the time. So I don't know what to do now. No help, no proper help.
Kwame, who has been diagnosed of typhoid, is left with no hope as he struggles to buy his medication prescribed for him.
As the water came, I went to hospital. They gave me medicines. I take everything. I'm done. But how to go back there? No money too. I can't go. So I need serious help.
With the water levels still increasing and livelihoods affected, thousands of residents, including the likes of Kwame, will continue to suffer the impact as food supplies are not forthcoming. Paramount Queen Mother of Bupe Bridge, Barkisu Mankri, says the Bupe flood victims are not given the necessary attention.
The world should look at Bupe. Bupe is dying. The people of Bupe are dying silently. Unfortunately, we are not being recognized. We are not being felt that we are part of the flood-prone areas.
Paramount Chief of the Bupe traditional area, Bupeura Abdullahi Jinapor II, expressed worry over the level of devastation.
There you can see almost the whole suburb, which is economic boon of Bupe, is out. It's cut off. Water has gone through the whole houses there. And you know that place is a densely populated place. All the Bola areas, they've all been covered by water. Well, I went there personally and advised them that they should be boiling the water. But you know, people, some of them don't care.
Well, the Global Evangelical Church has entreated affected persons of the dam spillage at Mepe to continually pursue their religious activities even in the face of their predicament. The church has made some donations, including an undisclosed amount of money, in a bid to alleviate the plight of members of the community.
The devastation caused by the Akosombo and Kpon dam spillage requires urgent support to keep the community alive. With support coming in, the latest is from the Global Evangelical Church, which includes bags of rice, toiletries, clothing and undisclosed cash. The church sympathized with the affected and urged them to stay strong.
We hope to continue. We will go back and bring back, because we are a very big family and our people are still bringing the items. And we are sure that we will bring many more items to help our brothers and sisters.
Director of Physical Development and Social Services, Reverend Wisdom Kwesi Aite, disclosed that the support was timely.
Our mission as a church is also to show compassion to people. We don't do only the spiritual side, but the gospel is holistic, both physical and spiritual. So we take care of the physical needs of the people as well.
Corporate Ghana and other churches have been encouraged to emulate the gesture.
Well, away from the flats, residents of Garu in the Upper East region found themselves in arms confrontation with the national security operatives on Tuesday, October 25. The conflict arose when some residents accosted the occupant of a V8 Land Cruiser with the registration number GS7520-22, which was suspiciously parked at a basic school at 10 p.m. Tuesday, October 24. The residents escorted the V8 occupants to the Garu District Police Station, where the police commander, Superintendent Daniel Yaro, authenticated the identity of national security operatives. But the residents remained skeptical because, according to them, two persons were earlier involved in the Boko conflict under the guise of national security operatives. Now, they also suspected that the group could be part of people working to smuggle the rival chief and skinned at Nalerigu, Seidu Abagri, into Boko. Now, later in the wee hours of Wednesday, some unknown gunmen attacked the Garu police station amidst sporadic gunfire, damaging the national security operative vehicle. It took a military reinforcement team from Boko to restore calm in the town. Now, the national security operatives were in possession of M16 rifles, 3 pistols, bulletproof jackets as well. Now, there was no casualty, but tension is rising in Boko and Garu over the incident. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ikufu-Dampare, has denied allegations of brutalities against protesters who participated in the occupied Jilobi House demonstration. Now, at engagement with members of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union at the police headquarters in Accra, he described the allegations as blatant lies.
As soon as they were arrested, they went around making all sort of allegations and all sort of noise and said police has brutalized us, they have done this, have done that, have done that. I took it upon myself the following day to meet their leaders, some of them, and told them that if we have respected the process and allowed the court to tell us how we should go about, we won't get to where we have gotten to. But because we have succeeded with all the propaganda and also the lies about the fact that police has brutalized you, we will let you continue the demonstration and we will let you finish with all the days that you want to do the demonstration. But we will challenge you to bring any evidence that speaks to the fact that you were brutalized. As I speak, after months of completing that demonstration today, not a shred of evidence has been brought up to indicate that police has been brutalized. But until I told you this, and you being here, you will have had a mindset based on what they were spelling out there that they were brutalized. It was never so. And they held people hostage in traffic for all this long. Your right to demonstrate, you have deprived all other people's rights and put it in your pocket. And this is what we were trying to avoid. And you say you won't understand. And you go out there and you make it sound as if the police is against demonstration. So putting all this together, you see where we stand when it comes to some of these demonstrations. When you say you want to demonstrate in this period, you are trying to say that all of us, our right to make Christmas the New Year they should be suspended because of some 200, 300 people who say want to demonstrate.
Now, the planned funeral for the late Gai Manye, the paramount queen of Ga State, Her Royal Majesty Nadede Omaju III, has been thrown into limbo following an injunction secured against the interment. The Ga traditional state had cautioned business owners to adhere to a directive of shop closures in respect to customs during the final funeral rites. Now, the Traditional Council have been tight-lipped about the latest injunction. Meanwhile, lawyer for the family who contends that they were not consulted about the arrangements for the funeral says they want the Ga Traditional Council to involve them, hence the court injunction.
Both the paternal and the maternal families from which the late Queen Mother hailed from were actually denied any planning process. They don't have any access to whatever goes on in the funeral committee. Initially, they were promised that they will be participants or they will participate in the planning process, the planning organization, and all the processes that will lead up to the funeral of the late Queen Mother. Unfortunately, they were actually sidelined, and as we are all aware, they were only told or heard in the newspapers that the funeral will be held from tomorrow onwards. And so they were actually not involved, and they think it wise to engage the funeral committee instituted by the Grand Traditional Council. And they were not given audience. All attempt to persuade them that every individual in Ghana, yourself, myself, comes from a family, and there's no entity called what is the name, Grand Traditional Council, that anybody comes from or hail from. And so the body or the remains of the Queen Mother belong to the two families, and they are saying that they are not aware. Even the burial place, the tomb, is not ready for them to bury their relatives. The house or the palace was destroyed, and they are trying to rebuild it. It is not yet complete. And what they heard was that a funeral date has been fixed. In fact, initially, the arrangement was that the funeral committee, will help them put a decent building for the funeral to take place. Along the line, they deny or they refuse all this, and they were left in the dark. And the only remedy available to them is to go to court and restrain. In any case, who are the funeral committee? Are they members of the two families? They are strangers. They are a group of, will you call them chiefs or queen mothers or whatever, and they want to take over a dead relative. It is uncalled for.
Now, away from that, the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has declined the petition by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to remove Justice Edward Chum from all cases of the OSP before him. Now, the Special Prosecutor had earlier requested that the CJ recuse the judge hearing the Cecilia Dapaah cases, alleging prejudice towards the former Sanitation Minister. Lord Eduasari reports.
The issues turned awry on October 18 after what appeared to be a mix-up in communication. Before proceedings could begin, lawyers for Cecilia Dapaah sought clarification from Justice Edward Chum regarding the petition to have him changed. He told the court that he had been notified that the OSP had withdrawn the petition before the Chief Justice and summoned the case to proceed. Lawyers for the Special Prosecutor, led by Dr. Isidore Tufo, filed a motion of certiorari at the Supreme Court to quash an earlier decision of the Accra High Court granting an application of an abridgment of time which had been filed by Cecilia Dapaah, explaining to the court that delay in the hearing of the case was causing her discomfort and stress since her assets and bank accounts remained seized and frozen. Additionally, lawyers of the OSP also filed a motion to suspend proceedings until the application at the Apex Court had been determined. The presiding judge thus adjourned the hearing to October 25 for the OSP to move the motion to stay proceedings. Shortly after filing the motions, however, Dr. Isidore Tufo told the court that the Office of the Special Prosecutor had not withdrawn the petition to change the judge, as had been communicated earlier by the court. In court today, Justice Chum adjourned the hearing to November 8 pending the determination of the request by the OSP after an in-chambers meeting with Cecilia Dapaah and her husband together with her lawyers. Counsel for the Office of the Special Prosecutor, who were absent, will have to move their motion to suspend hearing of the case until the Supreme Court rules on their motion to quash the Accra High Court's decision when the court sits on November 8. Lord Eduasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, they have been grounded for years and left to the vagaries of the weather. For the lack of maintenance, cost of management and no dedicated lanes on some roads, many Ayalolo buses are rotting away. Question Yali visited the Achimota news station where majority of the buses are parked and now reports.
During a visit to the Achimota bus terminal, the news team observed that weeds have started growing on portions of the concrete tiles where the buses are parked. A wire mesh erected as a fence has also been turned into drying lines by some residents and traders nearby, with dust all over the packed buses. The Ayalolo buses, with the capacity of 80 passengers, are equipped with GPS, cameras, television monitors and mobile charging point. This bus system was introduced to help in reducing travel time along busy corridors, but lack of designated lanes on some roads has rendered their purpose unfruitful. In a rather worrying situation, some of the buses have the windscreens broken. I've been here twice, and on both occasions I have been denied access into the yard located at the Achimota news station. Now, management of the buses has also refused to grant me any interview. But as you can see, it is a worrying development here. The buses, a good number of them, have been grounded for lack of servicing, cost of management, among other reasons. In March this year, the Minister of Transport, Kwaku Ofori-Asiamah, said the model of running the buses in the country is not working. He cited the high cost of operations, maintenance and traffic congestions as some of the setbacks militating against their efficient operations. The local government minister, Dan Botry, declined to grant us an interview, stating that interactions and negotiations with partners on the Ayalolo bus system are far advanced. As it stands, Ghana's bus rapid transit arrangement is not working as intended. Christian Yale, TV3 News, Achimota News Station.
And that's all for the 6 a.m. news here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with New Day.
Life can change in just one moment. In one moment, you have everything. The next moment, it's all gone, swept away